Okay, here's a quick tutorial on how to use this Max for Live Mopho bank with bank recall parameters. So first thing you need to do is add the patch to a MIDI track. Once the patch has been loaded, once you first download it, if you go through here, you're going to have nothing. Nothing's going to change because it needs to read from a matrix file export. I'm storing all the parameters in a matrix file or a JIT.matrix device. So to do that, first thing you can do is read Sysex file. This can either be an export from your mofo, how you have it organized, or I made available my entire banks in my mofo because I have them organized in a specific order. That will use a feature that I'll explain later on. Alright, so just do a read Sysex file. This is the name of the file that if you downloaded it, it's all my banks. So click open. You can tell if it works correctly. Go through the banks, see them change. So we'll go up to something random. You change banks, and you'd have all the different names and parameters. So after that's done, what would happen is next time you would try to, let's say you deleted this and re-added it, the same problem would happen. So to make it have a default file to read from right now, this was the file that it was when I saved it. What you need to do is do a write matrix to file. So I'm going to put it on my desktop, and I'll call it something unique. So we'll say Mophox4 all banks matrix file. So we'll save that. So the only way to make it save with the initial Max patch that I could figure out is you're going to have to actually go into Max. You don't have to go that deep. And once it's open, you hit a drag and drop file, but you're going to have to unfreeze the device. Then relock it, so that way you can add the file, navigate to that file, and just drag it into the patch. And you see that the file name has been changed. Simply freeze the device and save it. And once it's been saved, you can see that it's here, Mopho4 all bank matrix file. Delete it and re-add the patch, and it's there. So without doing anything else, I now have my bank recall. So if I changed it from the mofo, you'd see it change here. So the other thing that I made that would require editing on your part in the patch if you have a different organizational system is this sound category and patch name. I do it where I like to know all my key sounds are in one area, and then I can go through those sounds in there, and then I'll tweak a preset from there to match the track that I've been working on. So let's say I wanted respace. Here's everything in there. I can go here and it'll change it to match. Or if I wanted a sequence, these are all the sequences. So universe, it'll change it to match. So you can see these are the sequence available. So if I change another one, so if you wanted to have a completely different organization than what I built this for, you'd have to edit this individually, and that's all has to be done inside the patch itself. Real quickly, just to give you a brief idea of what you'd have to do. You have to go inside the patch, unfreeze it, come down, and all of that stuff is in this guy. But let's say you imported your Sysex, you would need to get all the names. So to do that, you'd have to put a cold device down here. So you'd attach it here, and you could run this, click this toggle, this clocker is going to run, and it'll cycle through every single patch. And then that would export it to that cold device. So you could then save it. You get inside this patch, and you have two places pretty much that you're going to have to go. These here, you'd have to manually edit this. So you'd have to go here and change the reference. I'm sorry. Go here, you'd have to change this to whatever you named it. So you'd have to manually change these. And then you'd know what those numbers are because that's outputting something into here. Those numbers, depending on what it is, would mean something. So those numbers you know. So if it's 1, I know when I output a 1, I do 1 and 42 together. And then if it's a 2, I know I go from 42 to 14, and then 57 to 6, 64 to 9, etc. That's in the order of where the sounds are in my Sysex file. And that comes out. And what that does is it changes this here to populate what it needs to be. Because in this object, it has all the names. So I know I have to go from, like for instance, the first one, keys, is like from 1 to I think to 14 or whatever it was. So it'll go through here, and then that'll populate this. So if you want your own custom one, you'd have to change this code here to make that happen, and then this JavaScript code changes this, which then triggers all of this. So I hope this helps explain how to use this patch easily, and enjoy.